Hey everyone, welcome to Ex-Fundie Diaries. My name is Elly, my pronouns are she, her, and it's definitely been a while since I've made a video. I want to thank everyone for sticking around and for being patient with me. I haven't forgotten about this channel and I have lots of ideas for future videos. I'm planning to put a community poll with some of my ideas, so feel free to go vote on whichever one you'd like to see next. I have been struggling with my mental health for the last month or so. Mental health is an ongoing struggle for me, like I know it is for many people, but lately I've been struggling a lot more than usual. My go-to mental health issue is anxiety. I'm extremely anxious and I have been for most of my life, but lately I've been feeling pretty depressed and I've just had a lot of PTSD symptoms kind of flaring up. And I'm even struggling right now making this video because everything in me is telling me to wait until I am in a better place emotionally or mentally. And I've kind of been waiting to see if things would start to feel better so I could be a more presentable version of myself to make videos. But I also recognize that that is perfectionism. And even though I so struggle with this myself, I really do believe in fighting against perfectionism. And that's what they required of us, right? In church and fundamentalist Christian communities, that if we're struggling, we keep it to ourselves and we just cover it up with a bunch of spiritual platitudes, and that's super harmful to ourselves but also to those around us, because then that creates a standard that we're all striving for. It actually makes me think of that Casting Crowns song where they were like, are we happy plastic people? Something like living behind plastic steeples with walls to hide our weakness and smiles to hide our pain. And it's like, yeah. I was really into Casting Crowns as a teenager and like really into Casting Crowns, one of my favorite bands. I remember, first hearing that song and feeling like that's so honest and so brave to actually admit that. Everyone kind of knows that that's what we do, but they actually made a song about it. But then nothing changes. So I really appreciate when people that I follow and whose content I watch, when they're honest about their mental health struggles and when they humanize themselves. There's a creator that I follow on Instagram. He also has a YouTube channel, Fantroy, and his wife Becca. She actually just came out with a really awesome song about choosing herself for the holidays, and I love it so much. But one thing that Luel talks about a lot on his Instagram account is the idea of rehumanizing, because we were all taught to dehumanize ourselves and to dehumanize those around us. White evangelical Christianity is just layers and layers of dehumanization. And so this idea of rehumanizing ourselves and rehumanizing others in the way that we think about them, the way that we see them, it's just so damn beautiful, and I'm so inspired by that. Yeah, I highly recommend, if you're on Instagram, to follow Help Humans Care and Becca Says. I'm really grateful for the work that they're both doing and just for that whole concept of rehumanizing. So, all of that to say, I am trying to just be myself in this moment. If I look depressed it's because I am. And if I don't look depressed, that's because I have so much practice over most of my life hiding my feelings and denying my feelings, and then going above and beyond to project a joyful and peaceful exterior, regardless of how much pain and trauma is underneath. That false facade. Something that I have been thinking about so much lately is how damaging it was for me to grow up with such a lack of boundaries, both with Christian fundamentalism just in general, because your life is not your own, your body's not your own, you're just a part of the body of Christ. You are to pour yourself out until there's nothing left. So that's one aspect of growing up without boundaries, but on top of that, I had no boundaries with my parents. Almost none, honestly, almost none. I was like an extension of them. I experienced so much enmeshment with both of my parents, where I felt their feelings as my own, and my identity was so wrapped up in being their daughter, obeying them, serving them, bringing them honor, and making them proud of me was one of the main ways that I expressed my faith and my religion. Both of my parents had their own ways of treating me like a partner in an emotional way. They both confided in me, vented to me, put me in the middle, treated me like the peacemaker. I mediated between them. I think I was probably 8 or 9 when that started, and it didn't slow down. It only got more intense over time. I just had no sense of being my own person and having autonomy. This binder here is one of my diaries that I wrote in when I was 7 and 8. As I'm sure you can guess, this would not have been my preferred aesthetic at that age, but this was a binder that my mom had given me. She picked this out. And I wanted to share a page from when I was 8. This is something that I shared with my therapist in a recent session, and she was really blown away by it, and she felt like it was a really profound example of my lack of boundaries with my parents. And I never really saw it that way until she explained it that way to me, and I haven't really been able to stop thinking about it since. It says, December 16th, 1999. This morning, Daddy ate breakfast with us. It was so fun, with lots of exclamation points with little smiley faces. I sat on Daddy's lap. I promise I will sit on his lap and Mommy's lap till when I'm 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Then it has a period, and I crossed out the period and wrote, and beyond, with a heart. Mom and Daddy made me make this promise, and I do. Signed, Elly. And when I read this to my therapist, she said, Elly, what age were you when you got married? And I said, I was 21. And she said, you made a contract with your parents at age 8 that you would just be passed back and forth on their metaphorical laps around the breakfast table until you were 20 years old, and you kept that promise. Obviously, this was a subconscious thing, but I was like, damn, you're right. Getting married to a man was my only way to have any kind of boundary at all with my parents. That was my first step of having a boundary for myself. And As people have wisely pointed out in my comments before, it's a really good thing that the guy I married was safe and not abusive, because I was raised to not just accept abuse, but embrace it. And it's just, what a weird thing to make your kid promise. And I made it happily, you know? I signed my name really big at the bottom. I spelled signed wrong, which just makes it even more, you know, childish and innocent. I wanted to please them so badly. Growing up that way makes it really, really hard to be a healthy, functioning adult. So it's helpful for me to remind myself that it's okay that I'm struggling so much right now. Trauma rewires your brain, and I just want to add my voice to others who are sharing their own struggles, and I just want to push back against perfectionism and just say that this is where I'm at right now. And hey, my channel is supposed to be about faith deconstruction and trauma recovery, and recovery is not linear. Recovery is ups and downs and everything in between, and that's just how it is. And if you watching are struggling with this, please know that you're not alone. Holidays are coming up, a time when boundaries are extra difficult, and I've definitely seen some very helpful videos and posts lately about dealing with that. The first one that comes to mind is from Angel DeSantis. I absolutely love her videos, and this was a super helpful one. There's another great one by Therapy Explained. So I'll put some links down below of things that I've found helpful recently about boundaries, and if you're looking for some of those, hopefully they'll be helpful for you too. Anyways, thank you for listening. I know this video is a bit different than the videos that I usually make. I would definitely like to get back to the regular programming at some point. I know it sounds cliche, but I hope you take care of yourself as best you can. Drinking water is always a great place to start. Here's an air hug for anyone who likes hugs. And yeah, that's all I got right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.